Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Telit and Lenovo webinar, The Benefits and Challenges of Real-Time Manufacturing Data Collection. I'm Amanda Flink, the Head of Global Events here at Telit, and I will be moderating our event today. Before we start, we would like to understand from our audience what best characterizes your interest in connected factory systems. If you could, please take a second to fill out the poll question, which you'll see on your screen now. Now let's get to know our speakers. To explain this topic today, I'm pleased to be joined by two speakers. First, we have Ricardo Bernanello, the Head of Platforms Business Unit at Telit. And second, we have Jonathan Wu, CTO, Smart Manufacturing Vertical at Lenovo. Just before I hand it over to Jonathan to start our presentation here today, I have a few quick reminders for our audience. I would like to encourage you to interact by posting questions. We will have time to answer some of those at the end of the presentation. Simply submit a question by posting in the box to the right of the slides that you see here. Also, please be sure to check out the resources section in the upper right-hand corner of your screen for some additional information on today's topic. Finally, we will send out a replay link to all attendees at the conclusion of the webinar today. And with that, Jonathan, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you. Lenovo, like most companies, have been through a journey of manufacturing transformation. We started more than a decade ago, focusing initially on pure cost reduction and elimination of waste stages. But moving on to the next stage, the focus is now placed on automation, where we look at how we could make things more efficient. And in the last couple of years, our own journey has taken us into this digital world and era of digitalization, much of what we have, and also making our factories smart. The definition of smart factory is very broad, but ultimately the goals has not changed over the many decades. And that is to get a better ROI. And that means making things more efficient, getting more output of what we have based on the existing resources that exist today, and making it and using things in a way where our operations will be of a lower cost. But at the same time, the quality needs to get better and better and better. So ROI and quality are the two main goals that has not changed over the many decades. But many of the areas sub within smart factory initiatives revolves around on predictive maintenance, logistics, asset tracking, worker safety, production stability, and control. But what is different from many years ago versus today is the underlying technology has evolved to a point where we're able to do a lot more and beyond what we would even imagine 10, 20 years ago. The next step, however, it's really not only looking at individually many of these modules in itself, but what we want to try and do is not a siloed view, but wanting to do something more. So as an example, in today's context, we have flexible manufacturing, being able to substitute the production line with different kind of goods, reordering how we manufacture things, so that we could achieve those ultimate goal of return on investment and quality. But here, it is no longer about individual components or subsets of the manufacturing process that we need to look at. It is about how they all relate to each other. So in this example of flexible manufacturing, right, you have to start with the production scheduling, finding a way in which you could optimize the maybe 5,000, 10,000 orders that you receive, looking for a common elements around them that could be manufacturing together, and then shifting it as needed to reduce the interruption in the process. Then the automation itself within the manufacturing line to fulfill what was being planned out, as well as monitoring the quality. But these connectivity or the relationship between them up to this point has been very much a manual connectivity, a manual process, and they flow accordingly. the idea of where we are talking about a smart really falls into the scope of what Industry 4.0 is intended for. Taking these siloed views of things, getting everything connected so that that manual transition from one step or one components of manufacturing to the other, it becomes an automated end-to-end view and eliminating that human element or the manual element that's involved. And that to achieve that comes down to one thing: the machines to machine and the various systems that is utilized and adopted and implemented in a factory and in manufacturing process, they all need to be connected. It is no longer about a siloed world of looking at individual pieces, but that all these pieces that helps drive our production are all connected and automated. Industry 4.0 therefore fits where that view and that vision of highly intelligent, connected, and autonomous decision making by sections and steps and phases of that manufacturing process can be achieved only if we have an effective way to converge the OT with the IT system. As I've said before, in a flexible manufacturing, the information that you need to run that effectively is no longer coming only from your OT infrastructure, not only from the equipment, but you need to pull records from your orders, from your forecasting, from your bombs, from your many other systems that are running in the back end. So that OT IT integration becomes critical. And the enabling factor here is that the data acquisition and the aggregation becomes the key and the gatekeeper in terms of how this will be enabled. And once you are able to capture all those data, then it is meaningful to go back and do more things with it, with specific solutions, specific capabilities that will help further the automation and the digitalization to achieve a higher result, all with the capabilities of the newer technologies that today offers. And with that, I wanted to pass to a partner of ours, Tellit, which we have been working together to fulfill and address this specifically area. So, Ricardo, on to you.
Jonathan, thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to share this stage with you. And I'm very excited with the partnership that Telit and Lenovo are constructing for the industrial IoT market. I think this is a huge potential for everyone. And all this fast pace of innovation is bringing new ideas and new usage for the technology, what is really revolutionizing the way that we build it. You know that Telit is a global company. We are traded in London Stock Exchange, and we have 3 business units. And on the business units for platform and services, that is the business that I am responsible for, we are a former spin-off of IBM Automation Group. So Telit and Lenovo, somehow, we share a similar DNA, and this brings us a deep understanding of the industry and how we can deploy technology to make things better. Not only industrial IoT is our passion, but it's also where we see that the money is, where the big investment for IoT is coming from. And most importantly, where the economic output, the benefit for the society is coming from. The adoption of this technology is really changing productivity for industries and making plants more efficient, greener, and more profitable. And this is shown by this slide here that I took from a McKinsey report that shows that industries that adopt IoT have the potential of reduce their costs from 5 to 40%, depending on the level of digitization that they already are. But what makes a factory an IoT factory? So I'd like to show this picture here and show the transformation that IoT brings to the factory. This is one factory that is a non-IoT ready factory, and this is a factory that is an IoT ready factory. And you can see that basically this is the same picture. But what makes this so unique for the adoption of IoT is your ability of identifying the different types of components from a hardware perspective. In this example here, I see a smart crane over there, and we exemplify with a Rockwell PLC. I see a Siemens 840D CNC over there. I see an AGV moving parts around. I see a PLC from Siemens in this machine. I see a Fanuc robot on my right-hand side. So even in a not very modern factory like this one that is exemplified on this picture, I can clearly see different vendors, different protocols, so a very high complexity in terms of the install base that they have on their shop floor. Also, you see people and the necessity of having sensors and cameras controlling the security and the performance of this team. But not only the reality of industrial is complex on the shop floor, but also when you go to IT space, these companies, they have different types of IT systems, from MES, ERP, MRP systems, different types of databases, SCADA systems, and cloud solutions. Putting all these parts together with an intelligent layer of communication is basically what we do for a living. So Tellit devicewise is focused on identifying this complex environment, providing machine connectivity and data transformation between any type of machine and any system. So any plant, the newest factory that you can visit, and the oldest one, the ones with machines that are 20, 30, 40 years old, can be connected and can take the benefit of the increase of productivity that is provided by IoT technology. And you know, Jonathan, that one of the things that I like is to think industrial IoT under two different optics. One that is how we can provide technology for industrial companies so they can improve their productivity on the shop floor, and how we can provide technology for machine builders so not only their machines can be more efficient, but also they can bring a revolution in terms of their business model. And this is how we deploy our technology. devicewise is a software. This software basically can be deployed, installed in any type of server. We can run on your beautiful Lenovo machines on a Linux environment, on a Windows OS, in a big IBM mainframe running AIX platform, even in small gateways. When you have devicewise installed, devicewise comes with hundreds of drivers that allows you to collect data in real time from any type of machine. We have all sorts of open protocols, such as OPC UA, OPC DA, Modbus, BACnet, MT Connect, but we also have hundreds of native drivers. So when we need to collect data from Siemens, we can use a Siemens S7. From Rockwell, we can use a Rockwell driver, and so on and so forth. But our vision is not only is important for you to deploy industrial IoT solutions for you to collect data, but you need to have the ability of transforming this data on the edge. The way that we did this transformation was by creating a fourth generation code method that avoids custom code, custom software, and you can simply set up a logic with a workflow where you can say, if you receive this error message, then do this with the machine. If you have this beat coming from this controller, then calculate this KPI. And you can transform this data, do parsing, math, algorithms, and push this data into the IT space. Because our vision of IoT is a complete digitization and integration between the hardware and the software, on how these machines communicate with the different layers of communications of IT systems that they have there on the IT space. We also invested a lot in a brand new product that is called devicewise View, where devicewise View brings a complete visualization in the form of a SCADA system that can provide HMIs and dashboards. And I like to say to my partners the devicewise view is like a PowerPoint for machines. You just drag and drop widgets, right-click on your mouse, point to the variable, and now I have live and historical data from all my machines. You can just improve things when you can visualize them. I see more and more as well cloud solutions being deployed. Big technology giants like Microsoft, like Amazon AWS, like Google, they are heavily investing on their ability of cloud computing and data analytics on the cloud. And we see the necessity or the possibility of improving industrial projects and processes by integrating also the IoT communication, the IoT data that is collected on the edge, adding this bidirectional layer of communication with this cloud computing. And this is how I describe the scenario of connected factories. So our vision is connecting every type of asset with every type of IT system with a visualization layer and the cloud solutions in one unique platform without the need of writing a single line of code. But something else that we realized in this industry was that not only large manufacturing companies, they take the benefit of IoT, but also there is the benefit for machine builders when they can sell their machines ready with a native connectivity. And this allows them to provide machine as a service, additional maintenance, remote monitoring, sell spare parts, increase the productivity of the machines that they sell because now their engineers can monitor in real time their machines. And with this, part of this partnership with Lenovo is allowing hundreds of customers of having this functionality out of the box by running devicewise inside the Lenovo cellular gateways so they can have this remote access to their machines. Everything communicating to a central location in the cloud, and Tellit has a cloud system called devicewise Cloud that provides the digital twin, the remote access, the device management, the connectivity management, the data management, and more. So we can provide under this scenario a full industrial IoT suite. So both end manufacturing companies and machine builders, they can take the benefit out of this solution on a complete end-to-end no-code effort. I remember, Jonathan, that one of the first meetings that we had, I put this slide together and I told you I see a comparison of what Telit and Lenovo is doing now as what happened here in the same city that I am now in Boca Raton 31, 32 years ago when Bill Gates came to Florida when Microsoft was nothing yet, and they convinced IBM that a computer is just a black box unless you have integrated hardware and software out of the box. The way that I see this partnership is bringing an IoT OS to a very capable hardware platform. So now we have a complete solution out of the box. We are bringing IoT to the masses and avoiding a very costly custom code layer between the gateways. So if you buy a simple IoT gateway in the market today that is not prepackaged with an IoT solution like devicewise, it will require you months of development, hundreds of thousands of dollars in salaries, costs, and other platforms for you to have something up and running. But with devicewise, now we can provide in small footprint cellular gateways like the SE30 or the MN90N, or even on your computers and servers platforms, a full data collection with hundreds of drivers for PLCs, robots, CNC, store tools, and more. Full ability for you to transform all this data on the edge, creating alarms, changing the way that this data comes in, transferring this data to IT systems, creating math and algorithms, integrating this with any type of IT system on the edge, providing the full control on the connectivity package, providing an out-of-the-box digital twin in the cloud, secure remote access, data management and connectivity management, providing full cloud connectivity for all the different cloud vendors, Microsoft, AWS, Google Cloud Platform, Siemens MindSphere, SAP HANA, PTC ThinkWorks, and more. And also providing a full capacity in terms of providing visualization both on the edge and in the cloud with a complete SCADA system integrated here. And I also would like to talk a little bit here about possible use cases. Every time that I watch a webinar, I really like to see how companies are really deploying this in real life. So I would like to share a couple of experiences that I had here, and also will be very happy to reply any further questions that you guys might have. So Tellit is incredibly, we have a very big penetration in automotive space. Today, 7 out of the 10 largest car makers in the world, they use devicewise on the shop floor, on the manufacturing process of cars. Honda is a very well-known customer for us. There's a beautiful webinar that Honda guys recorded. I even put here the link. And they talk a little bit about the experience with devicewise. This webinar from Honda is available on YouTube. And in this webinar, they describe, the huge impact that they had in terms of implementing devicewise. The biggest difference of devicewise versus other data collection solutions that exist in the market is that devicewise is a real-time data collection engine. This is the fastest software in the market in terms of collecting data and transforming data on the edge. We provide all the connectivity between every single robot, torque tool, and PLC and torque guns that that Honda has with their different IT systems. So here in this diagram, we show how this works. So with a multi-installation of devicewise through Ethernet IP can collect data from all the different controllers, transforming this data on the edge. So we can provide a standard layer of connectivity between any type of machine, doesn't matter who's the vendor, to any type of IT systems. We can provide the complete transformation of this data and integration to the different IT systems. So for example, if you are producing a certain part number, let's say that a certain robot booth, painting booth, is painting let's say now red Civics. But my MES is telling me that now I need to change this and I should start painting black Civics. devicewise has the ability of communicating to this MES system, understand what is the next part number to be produced, go to a database that could be relational or non-relational database, collect this recipe, change the recipe on the controller, check the tooling, if the tooling is appropriate for the machine, for the recipe we are running, for the part number that we're running, and then we can start this production line. devicewise collects all the data from this machine for quality control, preventive and predictive maintenance, and efficiency traceability, providing real-time information in terms of what is your OE, line by line, shift by shift, machine by machine, operator by operator. Now, with this real-time information going through the line, managers and operators, they can take fast decisions, improving the quality of what they produce, and taking faster decisions, improving also the productivity they have. But another use case that I would like to mention, as in one of my previous slides, I divided industrial use cases in terms of connected factories and connected machines, is in the world of the connected machine. This customer here is the largest packaging company in the world. It's a company based here in the United States, and they produce all different types of packaging machines, and they ship for all different types of industries all across the world. This company reached out to us about a year and a half ago, and they said, listen, Tellit, I have a vision, and I think that this reality of just selling machines is moving to an end. Every machine builder is looking for augmenting the way that they provide services to their customers. We want to have our machines as a profit center. I want to make sure that I understand how my customer is using my machine so I can create a next generation machine based on my customer's inputs. I want to monitor this machine, and if I can predict that something is going to fail, I want to alert my customer to change it so I don't impact his manufacturing process. And we came with this solution by loading devicewise in gateways like the Lenovo cellular 4G, 5G gateways, where we can provide all the data collection with our extensive drivers list. We can transform this data and input this data to the end customer's IT systems and creating a dashboard in front of this machine using ruggedized tablets so the operators can know exactly what is happening and even interface with the system by simply pushing a button there. All this data can flow to the cloud, where in the cloud we provided to the customer a complete dashboard so they have a digital twin of every single machine and every single production line. We're talking about hundreds of machines spread all around the world. And then if something is going wrong, their engineers that are in Atlanta, they can use our secure remote access to access that gateway that eventually is going to be in China, eventually is going to be in India, eventually is going to be here in Florida. We also provide a complete visualization in a mobile platform so customers, they can look at their app and see how their machines are performing, as well as we allow them to have data analytics solutions running in the cloud, and this specific customer chose Microsoft Azure for this data analytics. What is the most impressive thing about this project was that was a project fully deployed in very few months from the conception to the delivery, and we didn't have to write one single line of code to do it. It was just understanding what were the requirements, configuring the software, testing, and putting this in production. This significantly reduces your time to market. This significantly reduces your challenges and your costs. And now you have just one vertically integrated platform preloaded in gateways and computers like the powerful Lenovo's gateways for you to have this application up and running. So I think that that was the idea in terms of sharing a little bit of our experience. It's a big pleasure for us to take the chance of doing this revolution with big and important companies like Lenovo, and I'm here to answer any further questions that might come. Amanda, Jonathan, I pass to you.
Great, thanks, Ricardo, and thanks, Jonathan. Really great information here today. Before we get to the questions from our audience, I am going to drop just one last poll here. If you would like to have one of our experts contact you directly, please respond here on the poll that you'll see on your screen now, and someone will reach out. We now have time for just a few questions, and there's still time to ask a question, so please feel free to submit using the box to the right of the slides. We've gotten a couple thus far, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in here. And Ricardo, looks like this one is for you. What is the time it takes for a manufacturing company to deploy a solution like devicewise?
That's an excellent question, Amanda. It really varies a lot. And the reason for that is it depends how customers, they take this journey of digitization. And I think that the word journey here is important, reading the context that I don't see IoT deployment as a one-time deployment that you will have. It's going to be a technology that will follow the evolution of your manufacturing process. So answering on a more direct way your question, if we are talking about a small factory, let's say with between 50 to 20 machines, CNCs, PLCs, floor tools, whatever the type of machines they have, typically for the data collection, it's going to take you one day for you to collect data from all these machines. And then it might take you some more days in terms for you to realize what is going to be the data transformation, the dashboarding, and the integrations that you're going to have. But certainly in very few weeks, you already have one factory like this fully deployed. What is interesting about devicewise is our idea of clonability, your ability of creating one project and then cloning it for you to replicate in different lines, in different factories. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time that you're doing this. So seriously, in very few weeks, you can have this up and running. And then, of course, you will always keep evolving your project, your systems, according to the evolution of your manufacturing processes and the different IT systems that you will adopt.
Great, thanks, Ricardo. I believe this one is for you as well. Going back to the example for machine builders that you spoke of, can you also manage a remote VPN back to the machine?
Yes. devicewise has the possibility of providing a full connectivity to these machines. We call this functionality as secure remote access. And there are two possibilities for you to open this gateway, this access back to your machine. The first one is a port forward technology that allows you to have connectivity back to your gateway. And as you know, our devicewise gateway software is a very powerful application that allows you to have different types of interfaces with the machine, such as reading and writing data in the tags of these machines. Eventually, if you still need to have an additional layer of communication, you can use this technology to open a VPN access to the controller itself, so you can even have the ability of doing things such as changing the ladder logic of your controller.
Great, thank you. Jonathan, I'd like to hand this next question over to you. What is the main difference that Industry 4.0 offers?
So, as I mentioned earlier, the big difference and focus between 3.0 and 4.0 lies with the focus in that 3.0, it's very siloed. Everyone looks at its own component. But 4.0, which Ricardo has also talked about, is really getting everything connected. So that ultimate capability really is the ability to get every piece that's part of your manufacturing environment, whether it's the equipments, it's the controllers, or it's your IT systems in the back, that they are all connected in a way where there's free data flow from each other, and the ultimate vision is that if something happens at one part of the production line, they could understand what else is going on elsewhere and make the decision very quickly, and eliminating the need for manual intervention. So that's really where I think everyone's trying to get to. It is a journey to get there. And that first step of making it happen is to make sure that everything does get connected and all the data is being collected as well as being shared across.
Great, thank you so much. Next question I have here, if I don't want to have anything running in the cloud, can devicewise be deployed fully on-premise?
Absolutely, Amanda. devicewise can run 100% on-premises, and we have many of our customers keeping all the information inside the four walls. So devicewise by nature is an edge technology that can run in gateways, servers, and industrial computers. So all this data can stay within the four walls. Eventually, if the customer decides to have data analytics running in cloud platforms such as Amazon AWS, IBM Watson, Microsoft Azure, devicewise also can handle this information to the cloud, but this is completely optional, so everything can run 100% on-prem.
And if I may add to Ricardo, the idea is where things run, ultimately, it's made up of a number of factors, right? So being able to run on-prem is obviously a major desire. And with that understanding and positioning. We work between Lenovo and Tellit. We work together not only to make sure that that capability is doable on-prem, but that in running that, it will also be able to be operated in a way where it offers the highest availability. So, the infrastructure and the appliance approach that we've taken between devicewise and the Lenovo hardware platform will offer an on-prem capability that is extremely high availability.
Great, thank you both. Next question I have here. If I use devicewise, can I replace something like Kepware? And what about a SCADA system like Ignition?
Very good question. Yes, devicewise fully replaces data collection OPC platforms like Kepware, for example, given the fact that we have the most extensive drivers list of the market. Not only we can replace it, but we can also add benefits such as the ultra low latency of the system, all the edge decision-making of devicewise. On the SCADA side, Ignition certainly is a great product, and we have many customers that ask us to integrate with the Ignition platform. On the other hand, devicewise has a module called devicewise View. Devicewise View is a full SCADA system with full HMI and dashboarding capabilities. So it allows you to have a real-time visualization of all your line and historical data, creating KPIs, OEE control, throughput analysis, and more. So eventually you could do all your applications and visualizations on devicewise, reducing your cost of application and the complexity of your architecture. But also we see with a lot of respect all the investment that companies they do in different types of IT systems. So devicewise can make your SCADA system better and more complete by ingesting data in it and even consuming data if you are interfacing with your SCADA, providing inputs from your SCADA. As well as we can interface with all the different types of IT systems that your company will have. If you are using SAP ERP system, for example, we can open BAPIs and we can provide information to your ERP, such as your WIP, your cost of production, and more. If you are using preventive maintenance platforms like IBM Maximo or SAP PM, we can provide a full integration with these platforms. So devicewise, for example, can monitor for how many cycles these machines went through, what is the probability of failure, what is the vibration and temperature, what is the precision of these machines, and make these machines to open themselves tickets in these preventive maintenance platforms so they can, let's say, ask for a doctor, ask for a maintenance. We can integrate this with the cloud solutions and databases. So the way that we see devicewise or the role of any industrial IoT platform is providing you the ability of interfacing with any type of machine and any type of IT systems, providing a complete integration and making that vision that Jonathan described so perfectly in terms of what is Industry 4.0, making this a reality.
Great, thanks, Ricardo. I believe that's all the time we have for today. Don't worry if we did not get to your question today live. We will be sure to follow up directly with you. Please be sure to check your inboxes in the coming days for the replay link in case you'd like to go back and rewatch any portion of this. Ricardo, Jonathan, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you to all who joined us.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.